Hey folks, how you doing? What's going on in the housing market? In the daily financial news, we talk about Case Shiller, we talk about pending home sales, but let's get into the weeds. Let's talk about what's actually going on in the housing market as we end 2025 and start 2026. Are we going to have another nasty, disgusting year, or is the setup maybe something surprising? Dylan, what's going on? Let's remind people what you do, and we'll talk about what you're seeing in the market.
Yeah. So I've been in the real estate investing space for about 5 years. Primarily started as like an agent, and then started doing some wholesale. I did my first flip in 2023, kind of towards the middle of it. Since then, I've done probably around 30 flips or so, probably wholesaled another 15, 20 deals. All that to be said, this last year, during COVID times, like say 2021, 2022, when rates were insane, like you could do nothing to a house practically and still make a killing. Like it was very,
Right.
very easy to be both an agent and an investor. And then when I really started getting like both feet into the business was like right after that, like that honeypot year. So properties were still moving pretty well, and things were kind of, on the upward trajectory. Now, this year, what I feel like has kind of happened, at least we've noticed a massive slowdown. I mean, this was the first year that we lost money on a deal. First year that we've had to sit very, very long on properties and holding cost to eat our deals almost entirely.
Yeah.
And I think a big reason for it, at least from my perspective, from the consumer's perspective, is rates were kind of sitting for a while, and we had a lot of communication from top down saying that rates were going to come down, and they just weren't. Like rates weren't really coming down; they weren't adjusting at least anything noteworthy,
Right.
and prices were relatively stagnant. So what was happening is a lot of our consumers, at least in the Central Valley, were just getting outpriced.
Yeah.
We're starting to get a lot more price reductions that we're personally doing. We didn't even have to do price reductions before.
Yeah.
Having to negotiate and play ball with buyers that we usually would just tell, go kick rocks, taking significant credit. So in my perspective, if there was a time to be a buyer, now is probably the time, the first time since I've been in the business, because I started in 2020.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we've been seeing now. All that to be said, we've absolutely got our teeth kicked in this year. I mean, it's been a lot harder to make less money than we made before. So all that to be said, we're actually starting to see a little bit of an upward tick in momentum. Some properties that we've kind of just had on the market are actually starting to see a little bit of activity. Some properties that we kind of thought were going to sit a little bit are selling, and we had one sell for $620,000, should be closing in the next couple of days, and that's a pretty high price point for Fresno, and we barely did anything to it. So I think the thing that I'm learning with where we're at is, it's not to say that this is a bad market, but it is to say that we're shifting definitely more towards a buyer's market. And so I think you got to use that to your perspective, and you have to start accounting for some type of credit to be accounted for in the back end of deals, because that's what buyers need now. And also factoring that into buy prices. And then also, properties are just going to sit a little bit longer than they usually do. And the crazy part is you can't have a crystal ball. Some properties that you list in the market that you think you're going to hold for a long time might sell immediately. And some properties that you think should sell right away are going to sit for a little bit. And that's been my experience.
Yeah. It's funny. I talk to a lot of flippers, obviously, around the country in real estate folks. It's really interesting for me to kind of break down most of the year and then how we're finishing. So what do I mean by that? I think most of the year, I think you're right. I think home buyers in general were waiting on the sidelines for this interest rate drop, right?
Yeah.
The Fed this, the Fed that. They were kind of biding, their time. And we had a horrible spring selling season, right? If you look at the spring selling season this year, it was the worst one I can remember in 20 years. But something happened in August, and I called the bottom. It looks like it's going to be right. August was the transactional bottom, and we've been building from there. So as we finish the year, interestingly enough, we just got pending home sales yesterday, up 3% month on month, up 2% year on year. And oh, by the way, we're sitting at nearly a year low for interest rates. The other thing that's happening is affordability is getting better. I know people don't understand this, but affordability today is the best it's been in over 2 years. A little bit softer prices, a little bit lower interest rate, and yes, wages are up. Now, they're not up a ton, but they're up nonetheless. And I think that continues into 2026. Here's the catch, though. 2026, we have President Trump, who's going to announce something in January around housing. Nobody knows what it's going to be. There's all kinds of guesses. Will it be about supply? Will it be about demand? Who knows? But it's going to be something. The other thing that we know with certainty is we're going to get a new Fed chair in May. So, the question I have is, will the 30-year interest rate go sub 6? Because we've learned the couple of times it went sub 6 the last 3 years, and they've only been there a couple of times, and it was very brief, but demand shot through the roof. So that's what I'm looking. I think the 6% is a psychological number. 5.99 is so much better than 6.01 just psychologically.
Yeah.
And that might happen. We might go sub 6 in 2026. And then it's going to get interesting. The last thing I think about is, and I told this to Omar and Adrian, even Jason Pritchard. Jason Pritchard and I talked about this like 2 years ago. I'm like, dude, you flippers, you need to change your models like immediately. You need to buy 5 to 10% better. You need to account for 30 to 60 days on market, right? You have longer carrying costs.
Yep.
And you got to protect yourself. You got to buy below the median, right? No longer $1 million flips. We're not doing 700K flips, right? We're doing, 300K flips, 350, 380, something below the median. Because that market's still moving. You still got the FHA buyers, you still got entry-level buyers. But I think 2026 is going to be really interesting because it will be better than 25.
Yeah.
We will do more transactions in 26 than 25. And I think that's going to surprise a lot of people.
Now, what is your, what do you think? Why will there be more transactions in 26? Do you think it's going to be because of interest rates? Do you think it's just going to be kind of settling of the market and kind of just rationale of the buyer? Or what about 26 makes it enticing to you?
Well, I think humans, right, I've been studying the consumer for 3 decades, for over 30 years, and they typically can pull back for 6 to 12 months. But dude, life happens. People have sex, they have babies, people get divorced, they change jobs, right? All of these things happen. And eventually, and the other thing that's important is interest rates have stopped looking like a chart like this. They're just like this now.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's a lot of people that are going, rates are going to go to the 4s. I'm going to wait for the 4s, right? That's kind of, but they were saying that 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
They're not saying that anymore. And that's why I think if we go from what I think we closed yesterday at 6.17, if we just slightly tick down to 5.99, all of millions of home buyers have been sitting on the sidelines, and they're going to come back little by little by little by little. So that's why I think it's going to happen. And it's going to be positive for the country, right? People don't realize this, but housing in general makes up 12% of our GDP. And for 3 years, housing has been a negative contributor to GDP, right? We've gone from 6 million transactions to 4. And that means there's a lot less people eating, right? Because every transaction, there's, appraisers and inspectors and title and this and this and this. And there's been less people eating. So, I think we're going to go up 7 to 8%. I think we're going to go from 4 million existing home sales to 4.25 to 4.3. And that may not sound like a lot, but in a market where you have 60% less competition, that's the thing that's going to make 26 wild for guys like you. You're used to a pie this big. And 2 years ago, this pie was consumed by 200 or 300, people, right? Flippers, wholesalers in your market of Fresno.
Yeah.
Today, the pie's the same size, but now you have 50 competitors because 250 of them went broke, right? They're gone. They're back working at Starbucks as baristas.
Yeah.
And so next year, if the pie grows by 8% and you have 70% less competition, you're going to gorge. Yeah. So, I think you should be excited for a year, but that doesn't mean do something stupid. You're not doing $1 million flips. You're not doing, anything crazy. But I think 2026 is going to be a better year for lots of people.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. It's funny. Like a lot of people, it's the same kind of perspective that a buyer has in the market is a lot of times the same kind of perspective that an investor has in the market if they're in the short term, fix and flip kind of space, because they're also hoping that interest rates come down because they're directly impacted by the amount of buyers that are coming.
Sure.
And I think a lot this year's been, though it's been a lot more difficult to do transactions and to have easier transactions. Most transactions kind of feel, I'd say like 70% of our transactions have felt kind of like we're kind of pushing the boulder up the hill most of the time. But it's taught me a lot about, I think, just becoming a better investor in general. Because when things are really good, it's really easy to kind of forget the basics, which is buying at a deep discount. You start getting, because there's so many consumers out there, like investors out there that are competing with you, it's very easy to overpay. And what happens, because nobody thinks, everyone has like the memory of a goldfish, but like corrections can come, like, and pullbacks can come. And if you're not like ready for that, you can get squeezed really hard. And one of my buddies who's in the Seattle market was a newer investor and kind of started around the same time that I did. He started full time, like 22. I was around the same time. Had a really good first year, like great year. And him being in the Seattle market, he has to buy, $800,000 plus houses. The market this year had a 10% reduction. He's in between 4 projects. He's going to be losing $300,000 $300,000 that he doesn't have, And so, all that to say, like, you get away from the basics, you start getting too optimistic because you just want to outbid people and win the deal. It puts you in a bad position. So I think it just kind of comes down to the basics and doing the right things, which is getting lead flow, building good relationships, buying right, conservative financing, things like that.
Yeah. At the end of the day, what I want real estate investors, mortgage brokers, real estate agents to know is if you survived 23, 24, and 25, and you're still fighting, you're still kicking, you're still here, you are going to have amazing stories for the next decade. Because congratulations, you just survived the hardest time. You just survived walking the desert. And let's be clear, 60% of your competitors didn't.
Yeah.
They're gone. And they won't be back for a long time. In fact, most of them will never come back. You'll have a new herd in 5 years. But you should look at yourself proudly as you put a pin in 2025. Like, we survived, we're still here. It wasn't fun, right? We got knocked around, we got bruised, we lost some money, but we're still here.
Yeah.
Dude, 26 is going to feel like a cakewalk compared to 25. So good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel the same way.
Very, very cool, man. Well, it's fun to see. I do think this spring selling season is going to be very interesting, right? When that kicks off in some of the country, like Seattle, it kicks off right around the middle of January. So we're going to be talking with Beth Traverso to see what's going on there in a couple of weeks. But Dylan, you're coming out to Vegas. You're leading off day 2, right? First speaker day 2. So we'll see you in Vegas in about 6 weeks, dude. That event's 6 weeks away. It's crazy.
I can't believe it's already here. I know. I feel like we started talking about it, I think, during the summer.
We did.
And it's already here, which is crazy.
It's crazy. Well, Dylan, where can people find you?
Yeah, I'd say the easiest way to find me is on Instagram, Dillionaire321. I usually have my handle attached to my name. So Dillionaire321, spelled DYLLIONAIRE321. Yeah.
You know what? I think I have it saved on the side here. Let me just pull it up for folks because you are a fun follow. Where is it? There he is. IG Dillionaire321. Folks, give him a follow on Instagram. Send him a note. Tell him thank you for coming here each week. Dylan, happy New Year. Say hi to your dad for me. Take care.